Welcome to r/entitled people, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. Thank you friends for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story: suspicious individuals were poisoning our work, but now they're all on the DNR list. The second story: the employee that everyone hated was finally fired. The third story: I quit, and those entitled jerks had to pay me whatever I deserved. The first story is stolen valor and other shenanigans. This whole week has been an odd one, namely due to a single room who we suspect is dealing something illegal. We have not caught them in the act, but like with everything, the evidence abounds. Thankfully, they're out tomorrow, and on the DNR list, so hopefully we don't see them again. However, with these people who don't care about anything, I'm resigned to the fact that they'll have a non-DNR member of their party check back in. So this person checks in, and within a day our hotel is overrun with past DNR people, shady people, lots of people on bikes with backpacks coming and going from the various rooms, connected with the problem room, and people crossing back and forth between the other budget hotel across the street. While the main room was low-key enough to pass under our radar, some of the other rooms weren't so crafty. Altogether, there were 7 rooms involved. About 3 days in, 2 rooms are rented adjacent to the front office on the 2nd floor, and surprise, they're connected with the problem room. I suspected they were based on their look. So I watched the cameras and yup, someone from the problem room heads straight to those 2 rooms with a package and leaves without it. Suspicious. Later that night, those 2 rooms, which are separated by 2 doors, kept talking loudly, laughing, etc. after 8 p.m., our quiet hour. And I repeatedly tell them to keep it down due to noise complaints. One of them demanded I tell them the room number of the complaining guest. Apparently he thought I'd give it to him because he became aggressive towards me when I didn't. I tell them to go back to their rooms, and if I get another complaint, I'll have them evicted. I didn't get another complaint, so I passed the room watch info on to the next shift. Surprisingly, there wasn't a noise complaint on the audit shift. The next day, 3 upper-class looking kids check in, and I assume they're in college looking to party. So I clearly explain our occupancy, visitor, alcohol, and noise policy. I notice they're heading in the opposite direction to their room and towards the problem room side. I was a little surprised. They look nothing like the other people that have checked in connected to that room. As I'm watching the cameras, I hear the bell at the night window. All check-ins are through the night window, and I go and there's a man wanting a room. I begin the check-in process and he asks if we offer a Special Forces military discount. I say we have a military discount, and I ask to see his military ID, as there's no indication that he's a veteran on his state ID. Most veterans I've met have their status on their IDs, but I've seen a few that didn't. He said he didn't have it on him, but he had a veteran plate. I believe him and check him in. He drives by and I notice he doesn't have veteran plates, so I go and check what he did have was a cheaply printed Special Forces plate in the front of his car, and his plate was a normal plate. I was so peeved, and I felt awful that I didn't check, because I've had plenty of veterans not even ask for a discount, and I notice their status on the state IDs and I give the discount anyway. In retrospect, I should have been more diligent, because he had a weird cocky attitude, and I've never had an actual veteran ask for a Special Forces discount. D-bag. I go back to the desk and around 8 p.m. glance at the cameras, and notice smoke. I'm like, WTF. I go outside and those rooms adjacent to the office are grilling right outside their door. I've seen plenty at this hotel, but never that. We had an issue with the problem room grilling on property as well, and told them they can't grill on our property, but we do have a dirt lot where they can. So they drive off towards the dirt lot, and their interpretation of our instructions was to mount the grill on top of their vehicle. I still don't understand that logic. So staff heads there and tells them to put it on the actual dirt lot, and he apologizes for the traffic, etc., and says it's his birthday week. I go up to the rooms and stare in disbelief for a moment, then tell them to take it to the dirt lot immediately. I'm borderline tempted to call PD to evict them, but the sad reality is the police rarely evict people unless there's violence involved. So I go to the office and a minute or so later go to check if they're moving, and there is food strewn everywhere in front of the office, so I turn on my heel and call PD. They arrive an hour after I leave and gladly they were evicted. They had paid for 5 nights, and were evicted on their 2nd night. The room smells of lighter fluid and smoke. There's an 8-inch hole in the wall, stains everywhere on the floor, discoloration on the walls, suspicious objects everywhere, etc. They call back the next morning and ask when they'll get a refund. What was left on their folio was $200-ish, and we're told they wouldn't get their money back, and the guest snarkily asks $200 for a hole in the wall? Yes, yes, and yes. The other 3 rooms connected with the problem room didn't do anything that stupid. However, one of the rooms had busted lampshades. I wonder why it's always the lampshades that get busted. They were certainly odd though, and I watched the cameras, and one guy from one to the rooms would writhe in his doorway for hours. You may be surprised that the problem room hasn't been evicted yet either, and honestly, I am too. There's very heavy traffic from his room, but he always manages to nix that at our quiet hours, and doesn't himself cause any noise, etc. Before 8 p.m., 4 of 5 people on bikes come without backpacks and leave with backpacks, and aren't seen again until the next day. I saw one of them when I was headed home about 3 miles from the hotel zooming around. My manager seems content with adding people to the DNR list who are connected to that room, but allowing them to stay unless they do anything overt. So the problem room is due out tomorrow, and he came by last night asking if he can pay for another night. I say I'm sorry, I can't, you're on the DNR list, and need to speak with my manager, as she's the only person who can take you off the list. He apologizes again and says, yeah, it's my birthday week, and stares at me for a moment like I'd take him off the DNR list and let him rent again. I stare back blankly until he says, okay, thanks, I guess I'll start packing my stuff. Please do. Please check out early. Please never come back. The second story is, F you, my stupid racist fat coworker. At my work, there's always that one coworker everyone hates. Linda. I effing hate Linda. She's gotten me so peeved off before I plotted to make sure no one would ever find her. But here are just a couple of things freaking Linda has said before. I should run this place. I know everything and I could do a lot better job at it. Granted, she's been here for like 6-ish years, so she does at least know everything on the menu. Oh, I'm so tired. You will never understand how tired I feel. I need a vacation. Said this after being 4 days away. I can never get the weekends off. I always have to work weekends because no one else can handle it. Only occasionally too have the weekends off, but normally everyone works it. It was busy on Saturday night, and it was a nice surprise since it's been slow. She says in response, oh, I know it was busy even though I wasn't here. It was my birthday. It's always busy on my birthday. Why is that lady bringing her dog in here? This is a restaurant. Tells her it's a service dog. Well, she still shouldn't bring it in here. I hate Mexicans, they never tip. Why can't they speak English too? This is America! Learn English if you're gonna be in another country. If I went to Spain, I would totally be trying to learn Spanish. Oh, these are my regulars. She'll always say this about people that she knows tips well. A couple ladies tipped me $10. Oh hey, they gave you $10, those are my ladies. Aren't you glad you got to serve them for once? I only got to serve them because she was not even here yet. She saw an old friend and started talking to her as if they were besties. Then leaves and tells me right around the corner, can you believe her? She cut her hair. She's on drugs, I swear. No one cuts their hair like that isn't insane. The lady in question used to have close to butt-length hair but went for like a bob cut. The lady also actually looked good in short hair. While she was finishing up her share of side work, she missed a few empty salts and sugars, so I asked her to do them. That's not my job. I only do the ones my customers sat at. You're supposed to do the rest. It's how it's always been even before you worked here, so listen to me. She's 100% wrong. Oh my god, can you believe that Mexican guy? He's hitting on me right in front of his wife. She's saying this quite loudly and laughing. Trust me, she is no head-turner. Also, the guy in question wasn't flirting. He was joking. Hell, even the wife was joking around too. Get out of my way. Don't just block me in here. Move. I have to grab my food. She said this after my host stood beside her at the register. They blocked her for no more than 5 seconds. But she was there for a few minutes talking to a customer. There was room to move around, but since she's so fat, they have to completely clear the way. Where's the busboy? OMG's been in the bathroom for like 30 minutes. I need help. She had 2 tables and needed sodas. He was in the bathroom for 5 minutes. A coworker also asked her why did she skip seating the other coworkers 3 times. If you want a D-table, then go get them. Don't just whine and complain. Go seat them yourself. The coworker tried to seat himself, but as soon as he called out to the customers, Linda literally grabbed the menus he was holding and stole those customers. There's so much more crap about Linda, like how she'll skip rotation, claims people are stealing her tips, screams at the busboy, and yells at the cooks even if it was her own mistakes, constantly talks crap about other people to the boss trying to get them fired. F you, Linda. Everyone hates you. Update. She's finally gone. So as I walk into work today, I realized something horrible. I was not in the mood for anything. I was getting mad at every small little thing. I wasn't taking it out on anyone, but I'm pretty sure I didn't look pleasant. After about 10 minutes of yelling at the napkins, I stop and think, why am I so mad right now? Am I tired? Do I need a break? No, that can't be right, I just had a day off. I'm just beyond confused, but but I figured it was due to lack of sleep. Plus, I was a bit hungry. A few minutes later, my boss asks me why I couldn't answer my phone yesterday. I don't remember getting a call, so I'm even more confused. Turns out my boss desperately needed someone to close due to a no-show. I asked my boss who didn't show up since most of our employees are pretty good on coming to work. So my boss gives me a small smile and says, "Linda." Wait, I didn't hear you correctly, boss. Who did not show? Linda. MFing Linda. Oh my god, she's finally gone. I whip my neck around and stare at the schedule. Her name is crossed. Oh my god, she's been fired. This instantly brought a smile on my face. She's also caused several fights, false accusations, and made several coworkers quit or almost quit. She is a horrible bully that throws a tantrum if she doesn't get her way. She will literally push you accidentally if you refuse to give her your tables. And yes, she shoved me around when she tried to take over my section, forcing me to go home until the boss made her stop. I can honestly go on and on about this woman and the stupidest stuff she's said or done. Like even blaming a customer for making her break a few bowls, when said customer never even touched her. Seriously, if you guys want, I can easily list things she's said and done. But she's finally gone and the boss is very happy about it. Hell, no one was sad learning about this, and it definitely made my day. Goodbye, Linda, and may we never see each other again. And the last story is the best revenge I ever got against my employer. I worked at a job where we were paid for how accurate we are. I was a gun at the job, and I managed to find a way to achieve near-perfect accuracy with near 100% consistency. It was unheard of, so I asked to be paid what my contract said I should be paid if I were to achieve this number. They refused, stating that no one was meant to hit that number, but if I could maintain this absurdly high accuracy for a longer period of time, then they'll relent. But they also changed how accuracy was judged, which bumped my accuracy down a little bit, resetting the counter. But I figured out how they were doing it, and again I hit the high number and kept it high. Again I asked, they said no, you aren't meant to hit that number, and we cannot afford to pay what you're asking. But I wasn't asking, I was pointing out what the contract said. So I got a new job that paid much better. I then asked for a meeting so that I could tell them I was quitting. But they didn't let me speak. They didn't know what the meeting was about, so they just started rambling immediately about how they're sick of me asking for the higher pay. They're sick of my entitled attitude, etc., etc. It went on for ages, so I sat there and let them keep going, even goading them so that they'd keep going. Finally, when I was allowed to talk, I told them I just called a meeting to let them know that I quit for a higher pay. They were speechless because I was their most accurate employee, and they pretty much assigned me to the difficult locations, because no one else could do them. They started talking about how I should rethink it, but I was already pretty much working at the new place. I also had a ton of leave banked up, and they had been begging me to spend the leave so they wouldn't have to pay me out. But I ended up being paid 10 grand in backed up leave, due to a loophole where there was no limit on how much you could accrue. At my farewell party, I told everyone that I enjoyed working with them, and that I would love to stay, but even though I'm paid more than all of you, the pay is terrible, and I hope that you're all able to do the same as me soon. Boss got really mad at me for giving a speech about it, but they asked for it. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Have a great day!